This is the beginning and the end.
You're listening to the Epic Podcast Show with your hosts, Lignar, Walmardian,
She told me to tie her up and do whatever I wanted to her. So I took a stereo.
and Medicakes.
Do you think the expansion will make me fat?
Enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Hey folks, you're listening to Epic Podcast episode 147. If you're used to hearing Medicake's voice right now, well, that's part of what we're changing up for the show, but she is also not here with us. She's not feeling well and has been pretty highly doped up on Benadryl last I talked to her, which was just a few minutes ago, actually. So anyway, you are, I just said that, you're listening to the Epic Podcast. See, this is why she needs to do it, because she's in practice with it.
Oh, so unprofessional. You've been doing this for how long?
I've not been doing this for ever.
Oh, you're gonna,
I'm just saying.
really? Wouldn't you at least suck some of this up through osmosis or something?
Yeah, like when I'm not, like when we're not live and I'm not recording, yeah, I could just spit it out just the same way she does. But when I'm on the spot, man.
Do you just randomly do that, like in public or something?
Well, no, not
That
randomly.
would be great.
Well, you were in.
Like,
were you in the
at
room?
McDonald's, like, hi, can I help you? Hi, you're listening to the Epic Podcast. What? He's got podcaster's Tourette's.
Were you in the hotel room? I don't know if you had made it there yet.
Which one?
At BlizzCon.
Oh, okay.
When we were getting ready to
narrows it
record,
down.
and then Aeon just went off with exactly the way Medi does it.
That's true. Yeah, and he did. He had the inflection and everything.
He had the inflection, he had the tempo, the rhythm, he had it
true.
all down, and I was like, wow. That
was pretty funny. It was
freaky.
almost like he's channeling her.
Right, yeah.
I was waiting at the end to be like, this house is clear. He's really... Oh.
So anyway, man, what you been up to this past week?
I'll tell you what, I've been, and we kind of talked about, how with WoW kind of being a little slow right now with just the same content for a long time to Warlords. I decided to mix things up a little bit, and as much as I have plenty of vaults, I decided to roll a new one, completely
straw
brand
ball?
new. No strong. Oh no. This is not the 90. This is base, just
Okay.
starting from the beginning. Kind of been wanting to play with the PvP world server kind of thing, and getting some world PvP and stuff in. So I rolled a hunter, just goofing around, and got him to 10 and started doing some BGs and was enjoying that. But now I've gotten to the point where I'm actually pushing him up. He hit 40 earlier today, and I'm just enjoying all things PvP right now, which is really, really strange for me. That's not normally my style of play. I do suck at it, so that usually diminishes joy in it. But, having heirlooms in BGs evens things out a touch, I must say.
Do you have the PvP heirlooms?
I don't have the PvP ones.
Oh, just
but
a
I'm
straight
still-
up heirlooms. All
Still
right.
blowing people up with what I have.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm beating people like one-on-one, which never used to happen. And again, still not great, but I'm enjoying what's going on. And even just leveling, I've had my head on a swivel a couple times because I see a horde go by me or whatever else. I'm like, wait a second, is he gonna turn around? I enjoy that because, like I told people in my live stream earlier today when I was leveling on it, if I go to the bar and somebody wants to beat the crap out of me, they're not going to be like, pardon me, do you mind? Can you put your flag up so I can smack you in the face? No, they're just going to smack me, which is what I like about PvP. It keeps me on my toes. So
So wait a minute, you're leveling on a PvP server or you're leveling through BGs?
no, actually doing both, a little bit of both, but yeah, definitely on a PvP server, which was, I leveled on one in BC with some friends, and so I kind of wanted to experience that again. So Yep. I'm over on Darkspear Alliance side. So
Yeah, I think it's funny. The people who have only ever played on a PvP server, I talked to a few at BlizzCon. I got a buddy that plays WoW, and he's on a PvP server. And inevitably, they're like, "Oh, you play on a PvE server? You fucking Care Bear." I'm like, it's not that I'm opposed to PvP. I am opposed to PvP in WoW because I think their PvP system kind of sucks. If I want a PvP, I'll go play any other game.
Right.
Like, I'll play Call of Duty, I'll play Dota 2, I'll play Hearthstone, I'll play StarCraft if I want to play against another player. I just don't like how WoW does PvP. And the other side of that is, I'm the type of person that, like, I don't want to have to hearth or whatever to go answer the door to get my pizza or to go change my laundry or anything and come back dead. It's just that's not fun to me.
Right. Yeah.
And like I get the thrill of while you're out in the world of that sense of danger. I get that. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But the other side of it is I AFK a lot.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to come back dead and be like, shit, there's, I got to go do this and run back to my body. And that's not fun to me.
Yeah, I can understand it. I mean, and a lot of people, whenever I talk about it, specifically point to being ganked. And I don't know. I've learned to deal with it, playing in BC that way. It's just like, you know what, if I'm getting ganked or whatever else, repeatedly camped or whatever else, I'll switch to an alt or whatever. I'm not too stubborn to keep trying to do what I was doing. So yeah, I don't know. There's ways around things.
Yeah, I mean, and somebody said on Twitter a couple weeks ago, I want to say it was not Anna. I want to say it was her. She was leveling on a PvE server and talked about like running a BG. And on a PvE server, you run a BG, you're still flagged for that 5 minutes.
Right.
Afterwards. And she said something about getting ganked. I want to say it was her, and I hope I'm not putting words in her mouth. Said something about getting ganked more while flagged on a PvE server than she ever did on a PvP server. Which I'd believe that because I've done it. I mean, I play primarily PvE.
Take advantage.
Yeah, I play primarily PvE servers, and I'm not going to go gank a lobby. But if I see somebody just standing there, like just a week or two ago with AIE on the Horde side, there you go, Rob. We were getting ready. Some of us were getting ready to do Celestials, and there was an Alliance guy there, flagged, and just kind of running through us, and he's flagged. I'm like,
oh yeah.
And we're all in mumble. I'm like, you want to do it? You want to do it? Come on, let's do it. Let's go do it. The dude just died, right?
Right.
But yeah. So
it's funny you say about I won't hit a lobby. I'll hit a lobby. I don't care. I don't mind.
I'm not. No, I will defend the quest givers. Like if I'm playing Alliance side and there's a lobby horde going around killing quest givers and stuff, I'll defend the quest givers.
Right.
Which I've done before. I was on my DK, and this is when I was doing tanking our raids on my DK, and I was going up to Northrend, and this was during Cataclysm, so I was 85.
Right.
And I was going up to Northrend to run Utgard Pinnacle, the one that drops with Scotty in it that drops the blue Protodrake.
Oh yeah.
I was going up to do that mount run, and there was some a goblin DK in our little town there. I don't remember the name of it, who was like killing the quest givers and the flight master and everything, and I just whipped his ass.
Oh yeah. And
then he apparently either rolled an Alliance tune or had an Alliance tune or whatever, but he rolled over and he started whispering me, talking about how I shouldn't be ganking lobbies. I'm like, you shouldn't be killing the people in my town.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't go looking for you, dude. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. No, on a PvP server, the way I look at it is if it's a lobby and he's just sitting there, that's probably an alt of somebody that tagged me when I was running up and ganked me when I was lobby too. So I don't feel too bad. It all comes full circle.
Right.
That's probably my justification. I don't care. I'm all right with it.
But anyway, we kind of got sidetracked.
Mm-hmm.
We took your week in WoW and just went on a completely
that.
different. Yeah, we'll do that, especially without Medi here to keep us in line. As far as weekend or out of WoW, like I've been busy out of game, like doing a little raiding with Fert and AIE, and like we're kind of late tonight starting the show because I bought a motorcycle, and it took me longer to get it home and help my buddy who, because it's like 20 degrees here, so I didn't ride it home. My buddy got a trailer and came and got it and brought it to my place, and then I had to go help him like get his trailer back in the storage unit and all that kind of stuff. So all that took a little bit longer than I expected it to. So we started a little bit late tonight. Sorry guys, and not a whole lot late, maybe just a couple minutes.
No,
so
not too bad. I hope you got a helmet with that thing too, by the way.
No, I got a helmet before I bought it.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah, this bike, like I used to ride my motorcycle that I had. If you looked at it, you'd say it was a crotch rocket, but it was more of a touring bike. It had that look, and it had almost that same performance as like the super sport bikes and that kind of stuff, but it was more comfortable to ride, so you could go long distances. When I rode that thing, I looked like a Power Ranger. Like I was covered head to toe. The only exposed skin I had was like my chin, and that's what was sticking out of the bottom of the helmet. So I am that guy that I cover up. I mean, the bike I got now is a cruiser, but I'm still wearing a full face helmet. I got gloves. I got a riding jacket today that's got armor in it. So yeah, I'm a safety conscious rider when I ride. So
just making sure I don't need you to end up being like the Gary Busey of WoW podcast is all I'm saying.
I thought I already was.
God, no, not yet. We're pushing you to that point. Bringing me onto the show is definitely a step in the right direction to giving yourself brain damage, but not yet.
But yeah, I mean that's basically what I've been doing, taking care of real life stuff and running errands. I think the past 2 days I spent Monday or yesterday I spent a good 6 or 7 hours not at home, just running errands, like going over here and doing this paperwork and going over here and looking at that and getting a haircut, just ridiculous things that just need to be done.
Right.
And I let them all pile up, and that's what the past couple of days have been like for me. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm really looking forward to getting back into some more gaming. Some of us in Catalyst Gaming Media, we're talking about getting a Dota team, a Dota 2 group, or a League of Legends group. So if any of you guys out there who play either one of those games, I prefer Dota 2. Just saying, anybody listening, if you want, shoot us an email to the show, hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I want to play some Dota 2 with people who understand that I suck and aren't going to bash me, because I want to learn these games. I want to learn this game. I want to play it. The reason I prefer Dota 2 over League of Legends is I don't want to buy the heroes. Dota 2's got them all unlocked for you already. They're in the game. Or at least a lot more than League of Legends. I got like 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that unlocked. And Dota 2, I don't know how many. There's a ton of them.
Right.
And that's why I prefer Dota, because it's got a more options for me to learn the game with than League without having to invest more money into it. Well, more money. League's free. So they're both free. But yeah, if anybody out there listening want to play some Dota 2, I'll play League, but I would prefer Dota. Keep in mind I'm going to be getting carried, and not in the sense of a MOBA. In MOBA terminology, I'm going to be getting carried because I suck. So just you've been forewarned. Other than that, I guess we can go ahead and talk about what news. What news?
What news? Well, I mean, it depends on where you want to go. The talk of League does lead into at least one of our
It
topics.
does. We can start with that one if you want. If you want to start with that one.
That's why I won't play League of Legends. We've got a traitor over there.
Yeah. So if you're in the WoW community at all, or try to keep up with news, this isn't really WoW news, but it is related. Greg Street, as we all know him, Ghostcrawler, on the 14th, so yesterday, changed his LinkedIn profile, because before it was lead game designer at someplace cool. I looked at it like Monday or Tuesday before he made this change, and then now he's lead game designer at Riot Games, which a lot of people suspected because of all of the followers he had on Twitter. He only followed 2 people.
Right.
And he followed Scott Johnson, and it was either Riot Games or one of the leads at Riot Games. I don't remember which it was.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, leads, I think. Yeah, a lot of people kind of saw this coming, kind of expected it. I'm mildly surprised about it because I've heard the lead developer that they had, and they still have, for League. His name is, I think it's Morello, is the name he goes by. And I don't know if this was ever public, but there's a lot of talk about he does not like Greg Street. And it could just be the way the internet is, where he said something about, somebody asked a question about, well, World of Warcraft did this, why didn't League do this, yada, yada, yada. And it could have just been that, he replied with, well, Greg Street and I see things differently. And the internet took that to be like, they fucking hate each other.
Yeah, they can't work together.
Right. So I don't really know where that rumor came from. I did some digging the other day, and I didn't see anything about whether or not Morello liked Ghostcrawler, or I couldn't find anything. So,
right.
I don't know. I think this is a good thing for League, because as somebody who doesn't play League, I have played it, but I don't play it regularly. It seems like there is a pretty stark lack of balance.
Okay.
Where some new hero comes out, or champion, I think they call him. Some new champion comes out, they're OP. And it's like something crank, Wits crank, or I don't remember the name of it really. Like, this is how much League I play.
Yeah.
But he apparently is like kind of OP right now. Everybody loves him because he's OP. Everybody loves to get him, and he almost always gets banned if that's going on in your game. So I don't know. I think it's going to be good for League, but I tell you what, if you guys ever think there's anything in the World of Warcraft forums that sounds like Rage and QQ, go over to Riot's forums and the Reddit for League of Legends. Holy shit, they don't want Ghostcrawler.
No.
And I don't know why, because I know everybody says, oh, well, Ghostcrawler ruined WoW. It was the death of WoW. And fucking everything's the death of WoW. Every 6 months, WoW's dying because of something.
Yeah.
And that actually, ironically, unless you had something to add to that, that kind of actually leads into the next, the other topic we had.
Well, I was just gonna say, in terms of what they're complaining about, they're talking about balance problems. I don't know League. I don't know anything about their balance, but they're all talking about. Of course, the funniest thing I find about it is they're all taking all the WoW jokes and then splitting them off over to League, talking about, obviously one of these characters or one of these whatever classes are going to be, OP, and that's going to be, of course, the one that Greg Street plays. And
everybody thought he played a mage until he quit, and then he said, "By the way, I play a holy priest."
Right. And for me, it's weird because I'm going to miss Ghostcrawler from a WoW perspective, but I'm kind of glad he's taking this stuff with him. I'm glad he's taking the brunt of this. He's like, they talk about, what was it, Batman in the Dark Knight, where he's just like, he's the hero we need, or the one we need, or whatever, but we can't have right now, whatever it is. That's what Ghostcrawler right now. He's just like going off, taking the brunt of all of this stuff, and I'm glad he's taking that kind of course, I don't know. There'll be something else here that people will complain about in the same fashion eventually.
They're already saying blame Stelessalon.
Yeah, I know, but that's just
I know it's a joke, but you know as well as I do, if he's doing Ghostcrawler's job, he's going to be catching the brunt of it. Now, I believe it's not because of Ghostcrawler's job that he did; it's because he put himself out there. He was on the forums. He was making the blog posts. He was both the mouthpiece and the whipping boy for the community because he was the one that spoke.
That was what was interesting. Is a lot of people, I think, thought he had a bigger position with Blizzard than he did. I mean, lead systems designer is nothing to sneeze at, but the way people felt like with him leaving it was like he was the lead designer, like he was
like Chilton left.
Yeah, exactly. Or Metzen for something. Everybody was just like, "Oh my god!" Right. It's kind of funny. So I am looking at Greg Street's Twitter, by the way, and it is Morello, lead designer, that he was following. So it is interesting that you're saying there's apparently some conflict. Yet
I had read that, and it could have been Reddit or a forum, and it could have just been somebody making some shit up. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. My question is, with all the information he has with Heroes of the Storm, how much is he going to be divulging of that sort of stuff over at Riot? He certainly has probably all carte blanche to tell them everything he knows about Heroes. So I don't know if there's any confidentiality or non-compete agreements. I'm sure there is. I don't believe he would, because it's kind of unethical. I guess I don't know the ethics, but in that field. So,
well, I mean, it doesn't matter in that field or whatever. It's an unreleased product. Like if you worked at Ford and then went to General Motors and you were just an engineer, even if you were a lead engineer on a car, it's you could go and say, well, yeah, Ford's getting ready to do this or Ford's getting ready to do that. But you couldn't, like, if Ford's coming out with a brand new engine technology and it's patent pending, you could not divulge that. That's just wrong. And the reason you don't is because now they might wonder why they hired you, because when you leave, and you will, what of our secrets are you going to tell?
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So,
yeah, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting in the next year to see what happens. Again, I don't play League. I don't think.
What Django said, Ghostcrawler needs to go do Call of Duty, and OMG, the internet would tear itself apart. Yes, the internet would.
Absolutely. It's just, and that's the thing. At this point, it's that reputation and everything that's following him more than what reality is. So, yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm kind of glad some of that's gone with him, but I will miss him overall, and it does. Somebody said on Twitter earlier, it was just like seeing your ex with another guy. In a way, it does feel that way.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I hate saying that. It is kind of silly, but he's always been kind of that, public face that I've known in terms of Blizzard. So it is kind of strange. And we've talked a little bit about, how much, did Blizzard know about all this and how quick and everything. Of course, that leads into what we're going to talk about next. So
I think they kind of knew. I think they knew before we knew.
Oh yeah, I agree
long
with
before
that.
we knew.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't know how long this has been happening. I don't know if they knew that much longer than. I think they knew before BlizzCon.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know how much farther back than that. I mean, who knows when he actually finalized the deal? But
I'm willing to bet. Well, it's not outside the realm of possibility where this was a sealed deal before BlizzCon. It could have been, it was a done deal in say August or September, and he said, "Look, BlizzCon's coming up. I'm the lead. I'm a lead on this. Let me do BlizzCon, and then I'll move over." Because that's basically how it happened.
Yeah.
And Blizzard, the folks at Blizzard probably knew. They might not have known he was going to Riot, but they might have known he was leaving.
Yeah, I'm sure they knew. I'm sure he would have wanted. Well, I would think he would want them to know before BlizzCon, but maybe they didn't. I don't know. The whole thing is just kind of strange.
Chief Volgent's in the chat room saying at least a week before BlizzCon, and I remember that on Twitter. Some of them said, some of the CMs were there, and they were saying something about they were having drinks with Ghostcrawler, and it was like a Friday night, and it was probably like his going away party type of thing.
Could very well be. So, I mean, I would think that's the way it would go down, but can you imagine how tough that must have been to go through for that team, to try and be hyped about what's going on and everything else, yet know there's this bittersweet aspect to it. They're professional and they obviously did just fine, but that would have been awkward, I would think. So I'm very, for all that I had to go through to get to BlizzCon and everything else, and I really wasn't sure if it was going to happen and everything else, I'm very glad that I put myself out there and everything to go out and get there, because one of my most distinct moments was 20 minutes before the first panel, walking back to my seat after kind of just wandering, and here comes Ghostcrawler comes walking towards me just before he's about to go up and announce this new expansion, and just like I just instinct, I was just like, I've got to take advantage of the situation. I was just like, said hi to him and wished him luck on the panel, shook his hand, and he's saying, "Thanks, bud," and walked on.
Right.
And I was just like, I'm glad I have that memory, because it's not going to be possible again. So,
well, not as lead systems developer. Wow.
But I don't get to do much at all anyway. BlizzCon is the best bet I'm ever going to have to do anything ever. So, especially out in California. So I'm probably not going to bump into Greg Street any other time. So,
no, you think he won't be at BlizzCon next time? He's going to be at BlizzCon next time.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
He's a heroic raider. Why wouldn't he go to BlizzCon? I think he might have an end to get a ticket.
Well, okay, but why would he actually? He doesn't need to be there. I think it would be.
But
then
he can go as a
fan.
fan.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah,
I think he just watch the live stream and just do whatever he's got to do.
Yeah, we'll see.
It'd be interesting
but
though,
anyway,
because we see how many people greet him with cheers and who greets him with jeers. So. But, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, we kind of went with the whole Ghostcrawler went to Riot, and now we're talking about shit that we knew a month and a half ago.
Hey, we don't have Medi to just,
I know.
pounce over,
like, she needs to get here and, beat us over the knuckle with the rulers and keep us in line, even though we're just going to talk over her anyway.
Yeah.
But,
oh,
but anyway, so to kind of bring it back into what we had to talk about is, does him leaving and the fact that he was a mouthpiece for basically the company, especially the WoW franchise, right?
Mm-hmm.
does that contribute to the lack of information that we're getting now? Because we talked about this last time where, and when they announced Mists of Pandaria, BlizzCon was in October, and then the first week or so of November, we're talking like a week or two after BlizzCon, they were doing live Q&As and all this kind of stuff, and we haven't heard anything. We've heard there was one Q&A that was streamed, kind of like they did with Hearthstone, but they did it for Heroes of the Storm, so that was streamed on Twitch. We've heard nothing about Warlords, really. I mean, there's been some Twitter Q&A type of stuff about what they're thinking about doing, but nothing that we know. Mm. But there's not been any dev water cooler chats like we had when they were talking about the item squish before Cataclysm.
Right.
Nothing like that. We've got nothing. And is it because they're just not ready to tell us anything, or is it because Greg Street's not there saying we need to say something and I'm going to go do it now?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me, I guess the only thing I can figure is it seems like an amalgamation of a lot of this. I think they're probably scrambling a little bit without Ghostcrawler there to whether he's going to speak or just, kind of fill in that void even on the inside, there in the offices. It's got to be a very different dynamic without him, because I would assume from what I've seen, very energetic, very talkative, probably very, just persistent about things around the office. So it's kind of strange probably without that motivator there. But I'm starting to really, really, really worry that things are just not going as they planned, and say models aren't going as well as they want, or this, that, or the other. I feel, I hate to say it, but I feel like something's going wrong, and they're starting to worry about when this thing's going to be able to be released.
I understand what you're saying, but I think you're maybe doing a little Chicken Little reaction.
Probably. I mean, I'm trying. I mean, for the most part, I'm optimistic because I believe in what they do, and then we've seen a little bit with what we saw at BlizzCon in terms of a 5-man dungeon and stuff that was all playable. But yeah, I am. It is the lack of information that just has me freaking out a little bit. So
yeah, and I mean, I kind of figured we would get something this week, because last week was the first week back, the first full week back after the new year and all that kind of stuff. I figured we would get something, but then one of the CMs said something about until I'm back next week, and so I don't know. I mean, we've got to get. And I had been saying I think we'd get a beta by the end of January, which I re-listened to last week's episode, and I know we agreed to wager on something, and when I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I was drunk. Because I'm like, I said that we would get a Heroes beta before a Warlords beta, and I just don't believe that. I know that's what I said, but I don't believe that.
No, not. I was actually very surprised when you said that.
Yeah, it's like I was, I guess, had a few more beers than I thought I had, and was talking about something else. Apparently, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think if we don't get a beta by the end of this month, I don't think they'll do the big press thing like they did last time. I think that press thing for Mists was a way to give us information and make us think shit was coming. And we got a beta a couple weeks after that, but
right.
I think that was kind of a buzz building type of event, and I don't think
it was.
And I don't think it was necessary. I think, I honestly, and nothing against the fan sites and press that they invited there, I think buzz gets built better like they did with Hearthstone. Hey, here's some beta keys. I think that's a better way to build buzz. Then you turn around and say, does the biggest MMO on the planet need buzz?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I think there's got to be something, at least a live Q&A coming before the end of this month. There has to be, because we were in a Twitter conversation, you and I both, with was it Mike from Stopcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's. I honestly, I understand things are starting to get stale. We're at the end of the expansion. We're in the final tier of the expansion. I get it. I feel the same way. But one thing that I don't think I feel the same way as, at least not as strongly as a lot of people, is I'm not ready to just unsub. I'm not ready to say Blizzard's dropping the ball. I'm not saying they're not delivering. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people seem to think it is. I'm not saying I'm happy with, not having a beta, and not even a beta, but not having any idea when the expansion's coming out. And I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with knowing that I've got at least, and this is me saying this, at least 6 months more of Siege of Orgrimmar. Because the beta lasts 6 months with Blizzard, at least.
Right.
So I'm not happy with that, but I still don't think it's as bad as everybody says. Not yet. I mean, it's close, but not yet.
I was going to say, I mean, the frustrating thing is it's hard to tell how each person plays Warcraft. If you're a heroic raider or something like that and you've already cleared the content, you're not going to go do pet battles or level on alt or anything like that. That may be the end-all be-all for them, and they are going to unsub because what else are they going to do? I think you and I can usually find something to do one way or another, and that's just more of who we are. Certainly myself, I can find another ult or something else I can do. That's not an issue. But there's some people that just play the game differently, and I'm running into more and more people that are telling me that that's where they're at right now, especially with, I mean, and my guild's feeling it. It's a smallish guild, and there's just, like, we're trying to do flex, but there's not as much interest as there was a month ago. Mostly because it's like, okay, we go flex and we get some gear, but to what end? We're gonna replace this before we know it in Warlords anyway. Why? I mean, flex is not our progression, so it's not quite the same as it is if we were progression rating.
And I hear other people saying that, and for me, like, yeah, I run flex on Horde side, and yeah, I know the gear that I'm getting out of there, what little I'm getting out of there, I'm going to replace it at level 80, or I'm sorry, level 93.
Right.
But I don't play video games so I can get some magical pixel loot. I play video games to have fun with people I like playing video games with, and that's why I'm still raiding, is because I'm having fun. The raid team I'm with in AIE is a bunch of really good people, really fun people, and we have a blast for the 2 hours at Pop that we're in Mumble and in Raid. We have a ball.
Right.
That's why I'm raiding.
But what if there are people that are not opposed to raiding, but they're not as for raiding as you are? Some people find raiding exceedingly frustrating.
Well, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, but like the example you gave of, well, why are we doing this? Because we're getting loot that we're just going to replace. Well, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. If that's why you raid, that's fine. But for me, that's not the right reasons. Trying
to get a group of people together and do a group activity in Warcraft that's not raiding, there's not a whole lot of options.
I'll give you that.
And that's the frustration with the group that at least that's how I feel they're going through. So it's a little weird because Flex was a big excitement for a guild such as mine, but now it's just kind of like it feels a little more hollow.
And I guess to kind of take what I said earlier about, like, I don't think it's as bad. If WoW is the only game you play, then I will agree that it's that bad. But if you play other games, go play some Diablo, go play some StarCraft, go play some Dota 2, it's free. Go play some League of Legends, it's free.
Right. And there's the people I tend to know are very singular about their games, especially with Warcraft, because a lot of them have so many years invested in it. I mean, that's a little bit why I was actually having a talk with somebody on Twitter, Acomp, about Rift. Is as much as I would like to pop over to Rift every once in a while, and I do enjoy doing that every once in a while, it is free, so I know I can just drop it and pick it up whenever I want. So there's no investment, so I don't feel the urge to continue playing it. Whereas with Warcraft, I've got not only financial, but I also have all those characters that I've put time and effort in. So,
well, and to that same, Medi and I were playing Secret World for a while, which is it's a pretty good game. Like, the gameplay is but the story is really good.
Right.
But it's free to play. And it's like, we'd play for a while because we would get bored with WoW at the time because it was near the end of Cataclysm when we started playing. It's like, oh, we'll go play Secret World for a while. we may end up starting to play Secret World again. I don't know.
Right.
But I mean, there's plenty of options out there that are free to play that maybe you do unsub from WoW for a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that doesn't mean you have to stop gaming. And yeah, it does suck to kind of unsub from a game if WoW's the only game you play and you love WoW. I get it. It kind of stings, even though you're saving yourself, $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But it does kind of sting. I get it.
Well, it's also not just to have the disconnect from the game itself. It's the disconnect from your guild and stuff like that. It's a weird dynamic sometimes when somebody takes time off from WoW, because they're doing the right thing for themselves and everything else. But there is that kind of, and maybe it's just me, but sometimes it feels like they're leaving us.
I think Flex will kind of fix that. Especially if when they unsub, they say, hey, I'm just going to unsub for a couple, 3 months, I'll be back. So, they're just taking a break, whatever. They're moving, they got to save some cash, whatever.
Right.
And then they come back, and like if you are on a 10-man or 25-man team, in that 2 or 3 months, you got replaced.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I think Flex would be like, oh, okay, well, you're geared enough? All right, look, come on, let's go have some fun.
Well, in terms of the game, yes, but there's still that time spent that, you probably didn't have any other communication with them, or at least spend any time with them, and it's sad that they're just not a part of that group dynamic. And the more people you have, obviously, that do that, it's going to be a bit of a domino effect. I really believe that it does. I mean, like I said, my guild's kind of smallish, and you can kind of tell when the some of the core people are just not really feeling it, that it does trickle down a little bit in terms of enthusiasm and leadership and all that stuff. So I don't know, we're just in a really weird state right now, and again, most of it stems from we just don't know.
Right. Well, so, I guess the question is, I'm just going to read this kind of the way I put it in the show notes. Is this the calm before the storm, or is this the calm before the storm? I'm starting to think, like, at first I was like, it's the calm before the storm, but I'm starting to think that it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about the way you're wording that, it makes me fear that eventually when Warlords comes out as a beta, when we start finding out this information about, more about it, is it going to almost be a little too late? And you and I agree, hey, we've been through this whole process before. It's not that bad. And it could be, again, like somebody mentioned, that we get, I think it was Seraphis maybe even, that we got fed so many patches so quickly, right, and everything, we got used to that. But how many people will just be like, you know what, you got me all hyped up, and then, what do we, I guess, what is this, MMO blue balls maybe that we're... I don't know how else to put it. I mean, but well, I mean, okay, it worries me that people are gonna get to the point where they're just like, yeah, I feel like I got jerked around and I just don't even care, as right, great as it might be. That kind of stuff is what is my concern at this point.
Right. What Django said in the chat room is we go through this every major content patch. Not to this degree. Like, we go through this at the end of every expansion, and honestly, yeah, I guess a better way to rephrase or to restate what I was saying, and rephrase is probably a better way to say it, is I think the community buzz or anti-buzz or whatever you want to call it is more severe now than it has been since I started playing this game, but I think it's less warranted now than it has been since I played this game. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do, and it could be that just, it's like... it's almost in a way, when I look at like media in general, how we used to be so patient about the way we would get our media and everything else, and now if it's not a 5-minute video on YouTube without commercials, whatever else, we're bored with it. We don't have the patience to wait, for whatever in our media anymore. It just we keep getting things faster and easier and easily sent to us. That I think with what we've gotten with WoW, and especially this last expansion, things have come so quick, and maybe we're just spoiled.
I think we are.
That's the only thing. I mean, really. I mean, I think at this point we're just kind of, and gosh, I hope I believe Warlords is going to be fantastic because they know what they're doing in terms of the heart of the story, getting us back to Azeroth, quote unquote.
Right.
My idea of Azeroth.
I agree with you, but I'm gonna give you completely different reasonings. But go ahead.
Okay. No.
Oh.
I just think we're gonna it's gonna be a heartening back to me. I said earlier on Twitter last week, I never felt connected to Pandaria. I don't care about Pandaria's history. I really honestly didn't give a crap about the Pandarian. I let the Mogu and the Mantid tear them apart. I really didn't care. But going back to our roots and seeing the history play out before us, as well as being an alternate timeline, so like Illidan might pop up or something like that, makes me really, really excited. And there is more of a connection there because of the history. So I'm looking forward to it. Plus the item squish and everything else. I don't know. There's a lot of different things I'm looking forward to. I really hope that all this stuff does not diminish. I mean, it could be the greatest expansion we've ever seen, and it's still gonna have this kind of taint to it. Which sucks.
I'm gonna take what you just said and couple it with what Django just said in the chat room. The X-Pack is more quality of life than anything else. From a system standpoint, fully agree with you. But since they're not doing a huge change to the systems, they're not changing classes that much, they're not changing our talents, they're not giving us new guild levels, which I'm kind of upset about, to be honest with you. Things like that, since they're not doing that, they can focus on content. And we talked about this on previous episodes. I am all about them focusing on content. Bring it on, story. Give us content, give us some story. There's where we're going is ripe for some good story to be told.
Absolutely.
But to take what you said, I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for it. And the reason is I'm a huge fucking Blizzard fanboy, and it's going to be the only version of World of Warcraft we have available to us, unless you're breaking the law and playing on a private server. So therefore, I think it's going to be great. And I know that's a total fanboy thing to say, and I don't care.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. And again, the idea of going to Draenor and seeing all the stuff that we've only heard about, to meet these people that I only heard about through, like they have a spell named after them or something like that. And
the fact that we're going to get to be playing this game with, Khadgar is going to be there, and it's like old school characters that are going to be around it. A lot of people will tell me, because I started playing in Wrath, right? And a lot of people be like, oh, Wrath, baby, noob, whatever. I've been playing since vanilla. Motherfucker, I played Warcraft 1. I played Warcraft 2. I played Warcraft 3. Right. I know these people. I know this story. I know this game. I might not know the MMO version of it as well as some other people, but I'm not a noob to the franchise by any stretch of the imagination. And I am so looking forward to some of these, seeing some of these characters that we only heard about or we haven't seen in close to 20 years. Like
Absolutely.
Warcraft 3 was, God, I don't remember when Warcraft 3 came out. I want to say it was 98. I really don't know. I'm going to look it up now.
You got me on that one. I didn't play those games, unfortunately. I wish I did. So I'd like to go back and play them now, but
I'm sorry. The Frozen Throne, the expansion, actually Warcraft 3 came out in July of 2002 and Frozen Throne in July of 2003.
Okay.
So we're still 11 years ago. That a lot of people playing WoW, frankly, there's a lot of people playing WoW weren't even alive. So.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people that, all they know. I mean, there's people like me that this was their first MMO. Right. Probably didn't play those Warcraft games. I don't get into those type of games, that genre at all.
Hey, you know what? So, I'll go on record and say, like, I'm a huge RTS fan, right? I will go on record and say, when I heard about World of Warcraft and it wasn't Warcraft 4, I thought Blizzard was fucking nuts and they were going to ruin the franchise.
Right.
That's what I heard, or that's what I felt when I first heard about it, because I'm a huge RTS fan. I played Command and Conquer and Warcraft, and I wanted another RTS, and I didn't get it. And that's part of the reason I never played WoW.
Right.
Is because I'm like, fuck it, it's not what I want. And come find out I played it and fell in love with it, and it is what I want. But
absolutely. Well, and that's what I'm really looking forward to, because I'm somebody that sometimes gets frustrated with the fact that I don't know as much about this game sometimes as I would like to, because most of it I learn about in the game. And I want to learn in the game because it's more immersive. It feels more personal when I'm finding out as my character and everything else. But a lot of times you have to read a book to find out the story and stuff like that. I'm thinking not necessarily that's going to, obviously it's not going to replace books because we already know there's one coming out, but I think I'm really thinking and hoping that we're going to get more story out of this. We're going to see more history, and there's just going to be more of that connection to things that, like we said, we only kind of heard about. I mean, I wish we could go back in some ways and even get some more of that. And I mean, we got some of the, like the Lordaeron and stuff, a little bit, Stratholme and stuff like that in Wrath, but there's more events that I want to know about like that. So I'm glad at least this is something we're getting and from this aspect, but they could do more. I mean, with Caverns and Times and stuff, oh my God.
Right.
I would love to see so much more of this. I really would.
And I'm in the opinion, even looking to the next expansion after Warlords, I still don't think we need another race or another class. I just don't.
It's bloat after a while, which is, I'm glad. That's what I was really happy about when, we saw the panels on Warlords, is they admitted, they were just like, this is getting out of control. Yeah. I was very happy and I was very happy with the response of the community too. I thought a lot of people would be like up in arms, but most of them cheered. So
there were some saying they wanted a bard or they wanted whatever. They wanted Naga and Ethereals, but by and large, I think it was a positive reaction, and I honestly believe we might get new races in the future, but I think they need to stop adding classes. To kind of go back to what we were talking about at the top of the show with PvP, it's one more. It's actually 3 more classes to balance because now you got 3 specs. And so it's basically 3 more classes to balance. Or in the case of, say, a paladin, or a druid, where it's I guess druid's a weird one there.
Hybrid.
A monk or whatever, where it's tank, heals, and DPS are options. Mm-hmm. Then you're making it even more difficult. Whereas if it's a true DPS class, it's not quite as difficult to balance it, I wouldn't think.
Right.
But,
well, I really go back to what Rose said on our BlizzCon show, and it's stuck in my head, and it's something that I find really intriguing, is the idea of adding a 4th spec to the other classes beyond Druid. I was thinking a little bit and talking about on my live stream again today, talking about hunters having, say, like a healing spec, where it would be like the bounty hunter in SWTOR, where you literally will be shooting people that would be healing them. Somebody joked that their pet would run around bandaging people, but I find that interesting to me. I mean, especially for somebody who loves a hunter, for example. That would help queue times. That would help their queue time, at least anyway, going to heals.
Their queue time. It wouldn't help queue times for the community.
Yeah.
No, because if people really wanted to tank or people really wanted to heal, they would still do it. We wouldn't need loot specialization in the game to where I can go and shadow on my priest and say I want holy gear, or go DPS on my paladin and say I want proc gear. If people really wanted to tank, they would tank, and it doesn't matter if you're going to get an extra class. Almost 50%. We got 11 classes, 5 of them can freaking tank. I think the same amount can heal.
Yeah.
So I don't think this extra spec as much. It might help that individual's queue time, sure, but overall, queue times aren't going to change. I really don't think they will.
Perhaps, but I like the option to
I like Chief Ogin's idea for a healer hunting.
Yeah.
A hunter healing. The pets going around licking their wounds. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I just, like you said, another class. At this point, I don't know what they would even do. And it's certainly, again, I feel it's just all bloat at this point. So kind of just giving a little different aspect to a character, especially a character you played for years. Say you love your hunter or whatever else, and you always lament that long queue. Yeah, having another spec to do just to give yourself another option for shorten those queue times or whatever else, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Right. So anyway, we took a show that had no news and we went damn near an hour.
Yeah, no, that's not hard for you and I. What people don't know is this is like, we'll get together on Skype. We're just like, hey, we're just going to go over a couple notes on the show and whatever.
3 days later,
it's just like I saw a little meme about WoW where something like, I'm just going to get on WoW it's dawn.
Right.
And that's how we just like, oh crap, it's like midnight. We got to go to bed. So
yeah,
that's this is pretty much just us.
I need to go look at my new motorcycle and dream for warmer weather. So
is it like in the garage? So
it is in the garage. Yeah.
You could sit on it and play like a sound effect and just.
Well, I could start it and run it, but I might die from carbon monoxide.
I was gonna say, don't do that. Don't do that.
But actually, the funny thing is at the dealership, it had almost no gas in it. So like we had to start it to pull it up into my buddy's trailer, and then I started it to kind of ride it from the trailer to my garage. And I'm like, I don't know if I can even make it to the gas station. I'm not sure how much gas is in this thing. So I might be pushing a bike to the gas station.
I can see you on it just like making the noises too.
Yeah, I'll be sitting out in my garage going blah blah blah.
Best. You can get your leather jacket and pretend to be fawns and everything. That would be sweet. If you go to your bedroom tonight and hit the wall and hope the light will go out, I will. This is only gonna lead to bad things. I've got so many fawns jokes for you now. Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, trust me. Next week's show's gonna be more fun.
Oh my god. All right.
Not only because of that, because Medi will be back. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be back. I hope she's not sick for a week.
I know, I miss her already.
Yeah, I do too. But I did chat with her in Skype. I didn't actually talk to her. We just traded some chat messages in Skype, and she's doped up on Benadryl, and she's like, I could come to the show, but about 20 minutes in, my eyes are gonna be closed, and I'm gonna be snoring. So
right.
I'm like, all right, well, Joe and I will wing it, and we'll see you next week. You know, we'll have you next week, and talk to you tomorrow, and all that stuff. So hopefully she's getting some good rest and getting better. I hope she gets better soon. So,
well, to be fair, her like snoring or whatever else would be pretty entertaining. That would add a whole new aspect to us. But trying to talk over her snoring,
I would say, Joe, don't say anything, and just edit that part out and keep it for later on the soundboard. So
yeah, I was gonna say, try and get her to talk in her sleep. Oh, the information we could get. That could be very interesting.
Anyway, you want to go ahead and wrap the show up, and we'll call it a week. And
sure, I could do that. Okay, well, guys, another show, a definitely unique show with just the two of us guys. Way too much testosterone and not enough estrogen in this show. But if you want to contact the show, feel free. You can find us at epicpodcast.com. You can also email the show at epicpodcast@gmail.com. Or, of course, we have a YouTube channel where Lig puts some stuff in. Now is going to actually be putting the show up there as well, as if you need that option, at youtube.com /TheEpicPodcast. You can find my YouTube channel at youtube.com/WowMartian. That is WOWMARTIEAN. Oh god, even I
can't even spell your own damn name, dude.
Dude, who puts 3 vowels in a row?
You
moron. Trust me, I was late for raid. I don't even want to get into the story again. Anyway, on Twitter, you can find the show at epic_podcast. You can find Lig at Lignar. LIGNAR. I can do that, fucker. You can find me at Wild Martian, and I ain't doing that again. And you can definitely contact Medi and wish her all the best and hope that she gets better. Please do, because she needs it. At Medicakes. That's MEDICAKES. I'm gonna do them all. Well, I'm not gonna do them all. I'm not that kind of guy. Anyway, but I'm spelling stuff, and that's it. That's the stuff for the end of the show, right? I did okay.
Yeah, you did great. There is something I want to add that I didn't put in the show notes.
I know what this is.
Go over to Catalyst Gaming Media. Check out the forums over there. Sign up. We're going to have a giveaway coming up soon. I don't want to say too much more because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say so far. So go check out the forums over there. A bunch of the member sites of Catalyst Gaming Media are kind of grouping together, and we've got a giveaway to give away. We got a giveaway to give away. We got a thing that we're going to give away. So I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say
stuff.
Yeah, spell that one for me, Joe.
No, giving
I,
it away.
I'm not.
Arlet.
I feel Red Hot Chili Peppers. But yeah, I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say what we're giving away. But yeah, go check out the forums. We'll be talking about it on the show. We'll be talking about it more on the forums. There's a forum there for our show too. If you want to talk about something in the show, suggest something for the show, anything like that, go check that out. Again, that's catalystgamingmedia.com, and there's a link right at the top for the forums. So anyway, I guess that's it. Unless you wanted to add anything here at the end.
Oh, well, the other thing I guess we definitely should say, Rev has put up the poll again.
Yes.
For the choose which class I have to play my free 90 with. So definitely check that out. Again, there is still we're contemplating seeing how this goes, and if this goes well, you guys pick the class. Eventually, we'll worry about faction and race, and maybe one of the lucky winners actually gets to name the character. That would be fantastic. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll have to figure out how to do that, but I do like that idea. We'll have to.
I absolutely. I mean, just the idea of having to play a character that's probably named like Kool-Aid Man or something by somebody. Just I don't know why that excites me, but it does. Just
yeah. Well, I mean, we have to have some obvious rules. Like the winner can't give you a name that's obviously going to get flagged for rename.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's just common sense. But still, yeah. It should be real interesting.
It should be, and fun. So, anyhow, I guess that's it for this week. So, until next time, have fun a while, y'all.
All right, take care, guys.